Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is the mic working well? Jazakallah khair. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Amma ba'd. The topic of today is regarding the story of Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khadir. It's a very, subhanAllah, very beneficial story. Lots of lessons, which we can't go through all of them. We'll go through just a few, inshallah. But as we speak, I want you to think about how it relates to your own life. Not just your own life, individually, your family, your society. Now, a bit of a backstory about the story of Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khadir from the hadith. Once Allah's messenger Musa preached to the Israelites until their eyes were filled with tears and their hearts became tender. When he finished his sermon, someone asked him, "Is there anyone on earth who is more learned than you?" Musa replied, "No." So Allah admonished him for not ascribing all knowledge to himself, and he revealed to him, "At the junction of the two seas there is a servant of mine, Khadir, who is more learned than you." Musa asked, "O my Lord, where is he?" Allah said, "At the junction of the two seas." Musa asked, "O my Lord, tell me a sign by which I'll be able to recognize the place." Allah said, "Put a dead fish in a large basket, and the place will be where it comes alive and you lose it." So Musa put a dead fish in a basket, gave it to his servant, and told him, I don't want to trouble you except to inform me as soon as you lose this fish." He replied, "You have not demanded too much." So Musa set out with his servant Yusha ibn Nun and told him, "La abrahu hatta ablugha majma' al-bahrayni aw amdiya huquba." And thus began the story of Musa and Al-Khadir. Okay. The story starts here, and there's already a lesson in the actions of Musa alayhi salam. He said, "La abrahu hatta ablugha majma' al-bahrain aw amdiya huquba." I will not give up, I will not stop until I reach this place, until I reach this junction of the two seas, or even if I have to travel a long time, even if I have to go for ages. Meaning Musa alayhi salam had that determination. He would not stop. He had that passion that no matter what it takes, I want to learn something from someone that knows better than me. This is the value of knowledge. This is the value of beneficial knowledge. And if you think about this, how do we value knowledge? This is a common thing in our times as well. When a young child goes to HSC, he finishes, and then he wants to do a degree, there's only three options, right? Medicine, law, engineering. To the extent that we will travel for it. You might go interstate. You might go to a different country to seek this degree because it's valuable for that person, because there's value to it. What about knowledge that can take you to Jannah? Valuable knowledge. And this is how we should see knowledge. That we should look at it as valuable and put in the effort, put in the sacrifice, because it's worth it. Sometimes we get a bit lazy. We think, masjid's about half an hour away, I can't, it's a long drive, but we'll go to a different state for a different purpose, for example, right? And something we can do is that when we do travel, when we go on holidays, when we go traveling, make the most of it and make it an intention to learn from the scholars of the region. Because the people of knowledge, the people of true scholarship and knowledge are often hidden away. You don't see them on the public arena. You don't see them on social media. We see a lot of du'at on social media, yes, influential speakers, eloquent people. But the people of true and even higher class wisdom and knowledge are often within your local community that you don't know about. فلما بلغ مجمع بينهما نسيا حوتهما فاتخذ سبيله في البحر سربا فلما جاوزا قال لفتاه آتنا غداءنا لقد لقينا من سفرنا هذا نصبا. I'm going to fast forward a bit. And when they passed further, he said to his assistant, "Bring us our lunch. We have certainly been exhausted by today's journey." Before Musa and his servant went on this journey, they made it an obligation for them to prepare, to pack the lunch. Something very simple. And this is a lesson of tawakkul in Allah. Allah is Ar-Razaq. Allah provides rizq. Allah is the one that gives. However, we live in the world of asbab. We live in the world of means. Meaning, we have to take the action. We can't not take an action and expect a result from Allah. We take the action and Allah gives. قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة فإني نسيت الحوت وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان أن أذكره واتخذ سبيله في البحر عجبا. He replied, "Do you remember when we rested by the rock? That is when I forgot the fish, and no one made me forget to mention this except the shaitan. And the fish made its way into the sea miraculously." This is a lesson of, he says, وَمَا أَنْسَانِهُ إِلَّا الشَّيْطَانُ أَنْ أَذْكُرَهُ. Forgetfulness. Shaitan is the one that makes us forget. In fact, by default, in al-insan, nasi, we are forgetful. The wisdom of the Sharia, the wisdom of our deen, is that it's designed in such a way to keep us in remembrance of Allah. Remembering your purpose, remembering the akhirah, remembering Allah. Think about as-salah, 5 daily prayers. What religion has this? Allah knows that if He doesn't legislate this for us, we're going to be busy with our own lives. We're going to forget about Allah. Allah has legislated this so that we remember Allah. Allah has prohibited things like intoxicants, like gambling, because it makes us forgetful. Forget about Allah. And that is when shaitan strikes. Why do we sin? Essentially, because we are not thinking about Allah in that moment. And even when we sin, what's the obligation? What's our requirement? That we make tawbah, that we turn back to Allah. Everything in life, every experience that we go through is a means for remembering Allah. If the Sharia didn't have this, if we were left to our own whims, we would perpetually forget about Allah. We would perpetually be sinning to corruption. And what's going to stop us? Allah has given us these things. And you know, waking up for Fajr is difficult. Praying 5 times a day is difficult. ولكن Allah says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. The purpose and the intent of the Sharia is not to make things difficult. Rather, Allah is making it easy for you. How? With this legislation, He's making it easy for you to remember Allah. فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. And when they tracked this Al-Khadir, there they found a servant of ours to whom we granted mercy from us and enlightened with knowledge of our own. Meaning they found Al-Khadir, Allah describes him as someone who He granted mercy and someone who we gave divine knowledge, knowledge from our own, Allah is saying. There are two types, two categories of knowledge. There is divine knowledge, al-wahi, Quran and Sunnah from Allah. There is human endeavor, human effort, human effort. Allah has created us with hawa. Allah has created us with our own opinions, whims, beliefs, desires. Without the wahi, would it be ever possible to come to the ultimate truth, to certainty? Everyone's going to have a different opinion. Everyone has a different life experience. Everyone has a different, they're in a different context of history, even historical changes, different family dynamics, different education. There would never be certainty. You cannot come to agreement just by human endeavor. It's impossible to reach the truth on our own. So that's why the wahi, and this is just a logical concept, that's why there is wahi, divine revelation, to keep us anchored in reality, in truth, in certainty. That's why Allah describes the wahi as bringing people from darkness into light. Two types of knowledge, al-wahi, divine knowledge, and human endeavor. Allah is saying that He granted Al-Khadir, as we're going to see in this story, divine knowledge. It wasn't from his own whims. قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا. This is a passage on its own. And Musa said to him, هل أتبعك, may I follow you, على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا, that you teach me some of the rushd, the guidance that you have been taught. And notice that Musa is one of the most noble of prophets, alayhi salam. But his attitude towards Al-Khadir, who isn't at a high rank as him, his attitude is, may I, politeness. It doesn't matter who you're learning from. You respect the knowledge and the one who has it. Even if you're on the same level of the teacher or superior in some respects, if there is something he knows that you don't know, we must humble ourselves and be respectful to beneficial knowledge. And it's described as rushda, some of the guidance that you've been taught. What is beneficial knowledge? Guidance to that which leads to goodness. Because, and the Prophet ﷺ warned us against knowledge that does not benefit. The most important knowledge is knowledge that benefits towards goodness. It's not just any knowledge, I'm going to learn everything here and there. No, focus on what is going to be good for yourself and good for your akhirah. He said, you'll never be patient with me. Al-Khadir is saying to Musa alayhi salam, you'll never be patient with me. How can you be patient with what is beyond your realm of knowledge? The main factor to achieving patience is for a person to have comprehensive knowledge. Meaning, sometimes when you're learning something, it doesn't make sense to you. You might get frustrated. This doesn't make sense. Why is the Shaykh saying this? Why is he teaching me this? But the Shaykh says, be patient. Because there's something that you don't know yet that will make things make sense. So just wait. This is a requirement for patience. Accepting that the teacher knows accepting that there is something beyond your personal perception. Musa ﷺ said, "You'll find me patient, Allah willing, and I will not disobey any of your orders." And he responded, "Then if you follow me, do not question me about anything until I clarify it for you." So the instructions of Al-Khadir is that in order for you to not miss out on opportunities of learning knowledge, be patient with the teacher. If you become impatient with a scholar, you might be missing out on opportunities to gain beneficial knowledge. And the more impatient we are, the greater loss we are. And now we move on to the three incidents, or the three stories in the story of Musa a.s. and Al-Khadir. The three things that happen. فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقاها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. They set out and they came across a boat of people to take them from one side of the shore to the other. And the people recognized Al-Khadir, and they recognized he was a righteous servant, and they gave him a free ride. And then Al-Khadir started to pluck apart planks of wood from the boat. Think about this. You're taking an Uber with your friend, it's a free ride, and your friend starts to break the window. What's going through your mind? لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا. Are you doing this to drown the people? They've been so good to us and you want to drown these people? That's just a horrible thing, man. Why would you do such a thing? قَالَ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Did I not say that you're not going to have patience with me? That's the first incident. لَا تُؤَاخِذْنِي بِمَا نَسِيتُ وَلَا تُرْهِقْنِي مِنْ أَمْرِي عُسْرًا. Musa said, "Forgive me, excuse me for forgetting, and don't be harsh on me." فانطلقا حتى إذا لقيا غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. So they kept going until they came across a young boy. Al-Khadir saw him playing with his friends. He went up to him. What did he do? Killed him. Just a young innocent boy playing with his friends. Khadir just goes up to him and strikes him. Subhanallah. لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُكْرًا. This time Musa a.s. says, this is not just a horrible thing, this is unacceptable, this is haram now. How could you do such a thing? Remember, Al-Khadir is going based on divine knowledge here. We're not advocating for قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Did I not tell you that you cannot have patience with me? قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا. If I ever question you about anything after this, then don't keep me in your company, because you will have enough of an excuse now. That's the second incident. The third incident. فانطلقا حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجدا فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. So they kept walking until they came to a village, and they asked these people for food, but they refused. They said, "No, we're not giving you any food, no hospitality for the guests." And you think if you're going on a journey, you're tired, there's people, there's food, and they say, "No, no food for you." What does Al-Khadir do? He sees a wall that's about to fall, collapse, and he starts to keep it upright. He starts to fix it. He repaired it with his own hands. Musa said, you could have at least taken a fee, taken some wage for this so that we can buy some food. Musa, he didn't go hard at it like he did for the other two, but he just said, you could have just taken some money for this. Al-Khadir said, that's it. هذا فراق بيني وبينك. That's it. This is our partition. سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطيع عليه صبرا. I'll explain to you what you could not bear patiently. And these are the explanations. أما السفينة فكانت لمساكين يعملون في البحر فأردت أن أعيبها وكان وراءهم ملك يأخذ كل سفينة غصبا. As for the boat that Al-Khadir broke apart, it belonged to people that were poor, working at the sea. So he wanted to damage it so that, because there was a king that seizes every good ship, that takes away every good ship, a tyrant king. So he said, I put some defects in it so that the king doesn't take it away, so that these poor people can survive. As for the boy, his parents were believers, and we feared that he would cause them grief by his rebellion and disbelief. So we wanted their Lord to replace him with a more righteous and merciful child. This is from divine knowledge. As for the wall, it belonged to orphans living in the town, and there was a treasure under the wall, and the father was a righteous man. And Allah wanted them to reach maturity and extract their treasure by His grace. All of these three incidents had a meaning and a reason behind it. And the treasure that was left behind, subhanAllah, there's a hadith about this by Abu Dharr narration. It was a tablet of gold which read, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, I am amazed by one who believes in destiny but becomes sad. And I am amazed at one who is certain about death but is excessively happy. And I am amazed at one who knows this world and its ups and downs but feels safe in it. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And I want to pinpoint the last part of this message in this treasure. I'm amazed at the one who knows this world and its ups and downs but feels safe in it. What have we seen in the past couple of years or so? Tragedies across the world. The nature of the world, civilizations rise and fall, people go through tests and trials. We are here in Sydney, Australia, thinking that we're safe. We're safe. Allah can change things in an instant. What does that do? Because we feel we're safe, it's easier to fall into disobedience. Allah is reminding us, look at the nature of the world. Look how things can change so quick. Don't be so confident in yourself that you're safe. طيب. As a package of a story of Musa and Al-Khadir, this story is a direct challenge and refutation of a very commonly held belief in the modern, liberal, individualistic 21st century. What is that belief? And it's seeped into our ummah as well. It's affected us as well. This belief is something called egocentrism. What's egocentrism? Tough word. Ego at the center. the world revolves around me and how I see it. It's all about me and how I feel and my needs and my wants. If I see something, that's the truth, that's the reality. If I hear something, I trust my senses. And when you live in this concept or belief that I'm the only one that matters, what happens is that it becomes difficult to see another perspective. It becomes difficult to see beyond the wall. And this can affect our own psyche, can affect our relationships. Imagine you're arguing with a family member, but you can only see things from yourself, from your point of view. It can affect our iman. The problems with this nafsi, it's about me, my nafs. The problems with this approach is it can lead to spiritual illnesses, kibr, istikbar, pride, thinking that you know. Thinking that you know. How common is this on social media? Everyone's posting everything they think they know. Because I see the world based on how I perceive it. What I perceive is the truth, is reality. And I'll argue my case for it. It can also leave people in a state of panic and worry about life's tests and tribulations and trials, because all you're seeing is difficulty, all you're seeing is pain. Why me? When something happens to you, when some tragedy happens, you're thinking from your perspective, why me? This is so difficult, so painful. How can this be? And the opposite, side is also true. That's the ego. It's all about me. I think I'm something. There's the opposite side, which is, I think I'm nothing. Mental health issues. I think I'm worthless. I don't have value. Even then, a lot of times when people are focused on pleasing other people, serving other people, they forget about themselves, and that leads to a lot of stress and tension, right? And there's a movement in the mental health industry to resolve these issues, we need to shift the focus to the self. Do what you want. If this feels good to me, that's what I should do. It's like you're solving a problem with another problem. Regardless of how you're feeling, the focus is on the self. The focus is on the ego. The focus is on my perspective and my feelings. But Islam comes with something special. The remedy for this nafsi, egocentrism, is to forget about me. Forget about I. Direct your focus to the one that matters. Direct your focus to Allah and His Messenger. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Whether it be through divine knowledge, through the wahi, you learn something that Allah said, Allah commanded, Allah prohibited, and you might feel, this is uncomfortable, I don't want to do this, it's difficult. But Allah knows what's good for you. Allah is Al-Alim, Allah is Al-Hakim, Allah is the most knowledgeable, Allah is the most wise. So He knows what's good for you anyway. And He deserves authority. He's the one that created you. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. We have to recognize our own limitations. Something that might seem difficult might be good for us. عَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. Maybe you hate something that's actually good for you, and maybe you love something that's actually harmful to you. وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Because Allah knows and you just don't know. You can apply this to even your own life and your own tests and trials. Because Allah is Al-Hakim. He does not put you through trials and tests just out of whim. Allah is Ar-Rahman. Through these trials, there's rahmah. Through these trials, there's wisdom and hikmah and reasons that you and I can't see. If you think of a young child that goes to a dentist, they need a filling or a tooth taken out, and they're just crying. It's so painful. No. Alhamdulillah. The kid's just making a fuss. Why? Because egocentric. He's only thinking about himself and his feelings. He doesn't realize that what the dentist is doing is beneficial for him in the future. He doesn't realize that this infection is going to blow up. So the dentist is putting him through some pain to save him from much more pain. He doesn't see that. He's focused on his own perception. He doesn't realize that there's an expert behind what's going on. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. But we just don't see. We don't have access to Allah's knowledge. We don't know what's behind the curtain. So we submit to Allah's destiny, Allah's will. And also even the way that we view our own selves. We are creations of Allah. We are all creations of Allah. Meaning, on the one hand, you can't become so full of yourself that you think all these good qualities that I have, all these achievements, all these blessings are from my own hard work. That Allah created you. Allah created the blessings. Allah created your achievements. Allah created your feelings. It all came from Allah. And on the other hand, you don't negate that either. You don't say, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, I'm not good enough. La, you're a creation of Allah. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And just share the blessings of your Lord. In both circumstances, the core and the focus is Allah. You are valuable because you're an act of Allah. You're a creation of Allah. Alhamdulillah, this story, it really shows us the paradoxes of life. Something could be seemingly evil for us. We could see the Ummah in a difficult state right now. But there's no giving up hope. Allah is in charge. Allah sees the full picture. We just see the pixel. And vice versa. Something might seem delightful, something might seem positive and great. Always directed back to Allah. Thank Allah for the blessings and be patient with Allah through the trials. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.